Hey, g'day, welcome to another installment of Guvs Hero Impression and Review videos. This time we are continuing in the seasonal event hero series and taking a look at the hero Aurora, who is the 5-star green wood chopping lady from the Christmas seasonal event. So being a seasonal event hero, Aurora is of extremely limited summons window, appearing only once in a calendar year. Fortunately though, that portal does open for an entire month of December, so the window, while it is only one off, is actually quite wide. The other interesting thing with the seasonal events is that you can use your epic hero tickets in them, so save them up, target your seasonal portal of preference, and best of luck with those summons. So Aurora is a 5-star green hero with the title of being a Winter Wonderland Woodcutter. Say that 5 times really fast, I dare ya. Aurora is relatively new to the game. She was added in the 2022 edition of the Christmas Portal alongside Dapper Santa, about 3 or 4 years after the original appearance of the portal. We can't really call it a seasonal event because there's been 4 or 5 years and there still is not actually an event attached to the portal. So we'll have a quick look at her artwork. This was supplied to me by Snpier, so thanks Scarp for that. So her artwork does sort of play on her title. She is a Wonderland Woodcutter. Her role, it seems, is to decorate the evergreen trees and then cut them down to deliver them to the townspeople, which is not the most logical sequence of events, gonna be honest, but hey, you do you, Aurora. There is an accoutrement of different axes and hammers and saws on her belt there. And for some reason, a bird has decided to hitch a ride with the recently decapitated home. So, whatever. So heading back over to her card. So Aurora is a member of the Jingle family, which means that each time Aurora casts her special skill, she will summon an elf minion for herself with 8% HP and 8% attack inherited from her stats. If there are additional unique heroes from the Jingle family, the elf minion will inherit an additional 2% attack and HP. For me, this is probably the worst of the family bonuses in the game. The only one that's worse is the Hero of the Month and Vanilla heroes that don't even have a family bonus. It's nothing against Aurora, I just really don't like the fact that it summons only one minion for themselves, and not even a very good minion at that. I mean, 8% HP and attack is on like the lower end of the spectrum for minions. There's 4-star heroes that do more minion summoning than that, so I just feel like it could have been more minions or a better minion and it wouldn't have broken anything. In terms of her personal stats, Aurora does have 668 attack, 757 defense, and 1474 HP. So there is a slight skewing towards the defense and HP, which does grant additional survival, but it is at the cost of damage output, which unfortunately is the predominant nature of her special skill, but we're going to get into that later. Her charge speed is set to 56, which is average, and requires 10 tiles to charge, or 5 ghosted tiles. To do a speed break, you need a +2 speed improvement, which is possible. There is only one green speed weapon available in the game, which is the +6 Relic Hunter Bargo. To do a double break, you need to get a +9, which is not actually possible. You can, if you choose to, go for the emblem node on her class tree, which will also speed break her once. That will grant her the drop down to 9 tiles, so you can do that and save the speed gun for another hero. Class-wise, Aurora is a member of the Sentry class, which grants the hero a chance to gain 5% armor after receiving any damage. I don't mind this perk, as the damage can come from literally any source. It can be from minions, tiles, skills, damage over time, anything like that. The downside is it only procs once per turn, so it doesn't matter how many instances of damage you take, you can be smashed by 15 minion shots at once, and you'll still only proc the armor one time at the end of the turn. By way of an emblem path, I will pull up my unicorn because I do not have Aurora. Where is Uni? There she is. So by way of an emblem path, I would recommend going a attack path to improve her damage output as much as I possibly could. She already has pretty good defensive stats as it is, so there's not really too much sense in going for additional HP and defense. You can go for HP as the secondary priority. It's only going to improve the minion's HP by like 1 or 2 points. You'd be better off actually going for the defense as the secondary. So by way of an attack path, I'd go attack and defense as my personal priorities. So very similar to what I've done here on Unicorn, and definitely pick up that 2% speed node if you do push it to 19, because that will allow you to use your speed weapon on a different hero. Heading back over to her card, when I can find it. There she is. We'll have a look at her special skill. So her special skill is titled Call of the Northern Lights, and at level 10 skill and 56 charge speed, it will deal 350% damage to the target and minor damage to nearby enemies. So this is what I call splash damage. Minor damage, I'm just going to interrupt the skill for a second. Minor damage is 50% of the listed skill percentage. So in this case, it's 350% damage to the target and 175% damage to the 2 nearby enemies. So that's what minor damage means, or splash damage as I call it. It also will deal an additional 40% damage against blue enemies. So we can see that there. That raises it to 390% damage to the target. And then it will reduce the target and nearby enemy's attack by minus 42% for 3 turns. So breaking that down a little bit, I am going to compare her to other snipers in the game, and that's purely because the predominant aspect of her damage is to the target. There's only minor damage to nearby, and there's not enough splash damage heroes in the game to really make a comparison to them. So if we have a look at that, the best way of comparing damage dealers is on their attack power per tile. So attack power is just a metric of their attack stat, 668, multiplied by their listed percentage in their skill, 350%. The attack power per tile divides that attack power by the number of tiles it takes them to charge. So that normalizes it across the various different special skill speeds that we have on all the different heroes in the game. So in the case of Aurora, she has a base damage output of 668, attack multiplied by 350%, which is an attack power of 2,338. Dividing that by the 10 tiles to charge, it's a 234 attack power per tile. When you factor in the bonus damage against blue enemies, it raises it to 261 attack power per tile. No real massive improvement in it. It is an upward improvement, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to jump her up into top spot. So if we have a look at some of the other green snipers available, the best one available, interestingly, is actually Minamoto versus Armor. So he is one of the very first ever Hero of the Months ever released. I think he actually might have been the first Hero of the Month, and he still hasn't actually been beaten in terms of the total damage output for a green sniper. Next up, the actual best on base damage is Fiddle, new hero in the Rock Band's family. You've also got ones like Mantis on his first charge at 277. Chainsaw, who's in the Hunter's family, comes in at 274. Some that are below Aurora, you've got Aquani, who's 233, so only barely below Aurora there. Adid, who's a vanilla hero, 217. Gearbox, 197, and then Walker all the way down the bottom at 164 attack power per tile. So she's around about the middle of the pack in terms of the green snipers, but it is worth noting that green has relatively poor top tier sniping options compared to all the other colors. So in the other colors, you've got 0 Point has a maximum damage output of 512, Lillian variant is 457, Cooper Max is 415, Renegade 362, Ridge 379. So there is a big step change between Minamoto, max output, and everyone else. Even in purple, you've got Cruz, who's 407. Flax base damage is 358 attack power per tile. So you can see that there is a big difference between the other colors and green. Green doesn't have the greatest sniping heroes. So, but Aurora is middle of the pack in terms of those green snipers that you have available. Moving on from the damage component, the only other aspect of Aurora's skill is the attack debuff to the target and nearby enemies. Being percent based, it is the best type of attack debuff, and it's still, because it multiplies even on newer, stronger, better heroes that are being released, and even factors in the emblems and stuff. When it's just a static number, it kind of gets washed out a bit when you factor in things like weapons and emblems and power creep over time. So there aren't actually very many attack debuff options among legendary heroes. Aurora is actually the second strongest in terms of the debuff behind Vincent, whose is percent based but scales up with additional hits. So Aurora is probably actually best use is for the attack debuff. She's not a bad hero, but she's not a great one either. Her damage output, it's not great. It does become slightly better against blue enemies with that additional 40% debuff, but damage. But like I said, that attack debuff is probably actually her best feature because it is minus 42% against the 3 enemies. So it is useful to bring along as possibly a third hero in a green stack, and that will aid in the overall team survival by neutering the enemy attack stats. So for Aurora's grading, I do rate her fairly mediocrely. So for war and raid attacks, I'm going to give her a B+. That is mostly on the back of that attack debuff. If it was for just the attack damage, she does lose out quite a bit, but for that attack debuff, it does go up a bit. So for war machines, C+, events, just a C. Snipers aren't great in eventing, generally speaking. For raid and war defense, only a C. She does have slightly defensive stats, so might be passable as a flank or a wing, but she doesn't have a great damage output as a sniper, so it's really just the attack debuff that she would be heavily contributing to a defense team setup. For tournaments, I'm going to give her a B and a C. For Bloody Battle, I will give her a B for attack and a C for defense. For Buff Booster, a B and a C for attack and defense again. For Charged Attack, slight improvement up to a B+ and a B, and that's just because she does get a fair speed improvement, because it goes from 56 up to 65 speed. So overall for her grading, that is a B- for attack and a C for her overall defense grade. So yeah, that concludes the content that I have for this review of Aurora. As always, this is just my personal opinions. I do love hearing your thoughts and feedback on these videos and these heroes, so please do jump down into the comments section of this video. Drop me a note. I do love reading them, and I will always reply as much as I possibly can. If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, like the video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, share the video around to your ally mates, because chances are, if you found this video useful for yourself, it'll also be useful to the other people that you play with. So yeah, that's about all I've got. Thanks for tuning in and joining me for this review. Good luck with everything. Happy gaming. Cheers, and until next time, bye.